So, reaction of the day. Why nobody wants to work anymore? Guys, did anybody want to work in the first place ever? Like with a smile on their face, waking up tomorrow and thinking, God, you know what I need to do? Work. You would probably, when you start working, you would see this trend where everybody starts working and they're super happy, they have a smile on their face. This reminds me of this Subway where I always go and work, and there was this guy that was super happy, and he was talking with all the customers, and I was like, this guy is probably a new guy. 1 month in, this was his face, and he was murmuring all the time. The journey of work, am I right, guys? The beautiful journey of work. Taking every ounce of happiness and excitement from you until you become a husk, a zombie. Why nobody wants to work, though? Guys, why nobody wants to work?
It's a classic gripe of out-of-touch corporate executives hiring minimum wage workers, or the trust fund baby who is angry that their gym is busy in the middle of the day. Nobody wants to work anymore. Now, I really hate to say this, but by looking at the numbers, they might have a point. Labor force participation is approaching generational lows even after the pandemic, while labor force participation amongst men specifically is the lowest it has ever been.
Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think those graphs are going downwards? Is it maybe because the situation or in general has been going downwards as well? Is it maybe because back in the days you could afford buying a house, maintaining a family with only one income, and that it coming from working at the goddamn low wage job such as McDonald's? Nowadays, you work at the biggest companies out there, you work your ass off, you're the most stressed person off, and you can't even afford rent. And you have 100k debt to pay to universities. I don't know why people don't want to work. Why do they not want to work? Oh, meanwhile, getting a girlfriend is like difficult. If you compare this with 50 years ago, 50 years ago, the difficulty, if I would be to compare it with video games, jargon, I would call it easy peasy, and nowadays it's like ultra nightmare mode. Why would you not want to work, though, guys? You have nothing to win out of it, but why you don't want to work? Why you don't want to do something nobody wants to work, but expect nothing in return? I don't know.
These declines have been happening at the same time that unemployment is theoretically quite low, which, if the economists are to be believed, means it should be easy for people who want to get a job to get a job.
I think this video has been 1 year ago or something. Getting employed nowadays is way harder than it was when this video was released. There's a few factors for this, one of them being that most companies on LinkedIn and in every employment website is using AI to do the filtering, and AI is just crazy. AI, he's just looking at stupid shit like keywords, whatever, and he's just gonna throw 90% of the applicants' CVs and cover letters to the trash bin instantly.
Job, right? Well, not quite. And these numbers are confusing at best, or downright misleading at worst.
Is people just don't want to go to work.
There was a poll I read a long time ago. Only like 8.
Bro, I hate when some fucking privileged prick tells me that I don't want to go to work. Yeah, I don't want to go to work, Mr. Elon. Oh, you were born with how much money? Oh, you started your career with a few $1 million in your bank account? God, that sounds really, wow, that sounds like a hard job you're doing there.
18% of Americans feel engaged when they're at work.
I hate my job!
Oh, wow. They're making fun of this girl that says that she hates her job. She's a piece of shit, isn't she? Stupid privileged people making fun of us. The low common denominator. Oh, look at those people. They don't want to work at McDonald's. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Meanwhile, you work 2 hours a day. Oh, but no, us, the McDonald's workers. Oh, us, the peasants. Why we don't want to work at McDonald's? Isn't this a wonderful place to work at? Fuck you.
Signs are everywhere. Businesses, especially.
Yeah, the jobs that are asking for a job. Look at this. Sonic. You want to work at Sonic? For those who don't know, because I didn't know either. This is basically a McDonald's restaurant, a fast food restaurant chain in America. Do you really want to work in this shit?
restaurants need employees and
Applebee's, McDonald's, restaurants that have the worst working conditions ever. They all have working, they all are open for new jobs, but nobody want to work in a McDonald's. I wonder why. I wonder why.
they need them
Dude,
now.
less than 20% of the country likes their fucking job.
Okay, so there are
20% is a bit much. I think it's around 5.
two general schools
Nah, I'm being nice. I think it's lower than 1%.
that people fall into when they see that nobody wants to work anymore. The first group
First of all, nobody wants to work anymore in shit-ass jobs because they have nothing that you will earn from, except for maybe stress beyond stress and a wage that will not help you even get yourself a McDonald's meal every day.
are wealthy executives, business owners, or just people who have always worked incredibly hard who don't like that jobs are going unfilled. So they blame it on lazy young people who would rather sit around all day smoking cones and watching skibbity toilets.
First of all, yeah, compare that to working at McDonald's. Please tell me what is better, this or McDonald's? Please tell me, chilling or McDonald's worker? Which one is better, guys? Which one is better? I'm gonna put chilling right. You can't even see it in the. And here is working at McDonald's right here in my asshole. Garbage.
The second school of thought agrees that yes, people don't want to work.
They never did.
They don't want to work demeaning jobs where they won't get paid enough to support a decent quality of life.
Exactly. Oh my god. You gotta be an Einstein here to explain to these out of touch corpos why people don't want to work at McDonald's.
It's nice when two groups who are so different can agree on something. So really, the only thing left is to work out why people don't want to work. Now, in most cases, the
Why they don't want to work? I mean,
jobs that nobody wants to work fall into one of three categories. The first are jobs that are just paying well below market rates given the experience or the location required. Businesses aren't going to be able to fill a full-stack senior development role in Silicon Valley for $50,000 a year plus.
oh, so this is underpaid job basically. When all the job for full stack developers are like 100 to 200k, you give them 50k. Oh, I wonder why nobody wants that job, bro.
Equity in their questionable pre-seed startup.
So you're basically trying to scam people and you're wondering why people don't get scammed. Wow, you're a piece of shit.
But there are still plenty that try. Even entry-level jobs that pay minimum wage in very high cost of living areas are going to be much harder to fill in a city where even finance bros are living in shared housing. Now,
Exactly. You want to scam people in New York where the rent is 15k for a normal apartment to live in? 15k. 15, not 1.5, 15. And you want to pay me 3,000 bucks for your job? My rent is 5 times bigger than this. Please go fuck yourself.
take alert. But just like there are no shortage of crappy businesses and managers that expect to pay workers nothing for world-class skills and experience,
That's also very infuriating when you go on LinkedIn and they say entry-level position, 10 years of experience and a master degree. Where? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
there are lots of workers who expect world-class pay with little or no marketable expertise.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. What kind of delusional bastard you gotta be to do this type of bullshit?
One of the most insightful pieces of data on this issue is this recent survey right here. It asked a selection of Americans what they considered to be the minimum salary they would need to be
I mean, this I've seen this statistic before. This is because most Gen Zers, right? They are living with social media influencers that are constantly showcasing their wealth, fake wealth, most cases, and everybody is under the impression they gotta be a millionaire by the time they finish their university. This is kind of crazy, and I think this is way well. It's 5,000 a year. Is 500,000. It's just crazy. I think the Gen Zs are delusional, and these expectations are way too high, in my opinion. because they're being inflated by a shattered reality that social media is offering.
Financially successful. Now, most of the responses to these numbers have been laughing at the Gen Zs just entering the workforce who think
Yeah.
that almost $600,000 a year
That's
is a
ridiculous.
realistic salary goal. Because for most people, it just isn't. Unless you are in a few very specific career paths, there are basically
That's
no
not
jobs
gonna
that pay
happen.
this money. And
No.
even then, you need an insane amount of luck to get those opportunities.
600K is just like, what job are you looking for? Like a president bodyguard or something?
Now, you can blame this on young people who don't really know how the world works yet, or social
Yeah.
media that makes it look like every hustle bro is flying private.
Exactly. Social media has done irreparable damage on the young generation's perception of the reality. It's not even close. Everybody's making you think that your life, what is gonna happen when you grow up, everybody's gonna be nice to you. You have paparazzi everywhere. You're gonna have your dick sucked every fucking minute. You're just gonna have every single food you want, fancy food every day, Tahiti, Hawaii. When in reality, bro, it's gonna be only sadness and tears.
But it's all distracting from a more interesting data point. The average boomer thinks financial success is achieved with a salary of just under $100,000.
So, $100,000 is a lot for Europe standards. Keep that in mind. For America standards, from my understanding, it's a nothing burger. You have to pay insurance of over $10,000, which is insane. Your debt to the university is over $100,000 as well. Everything costs of living are way double or triple the cost of living here in Europe. It's insane.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, this is still almost double the median national salary. But in most major cities where people can actually find jobs that pay this much, $100,000 certainly doesn't afford a lifestyle of financial success.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like I mentioned, New York with a 15,000 rent, 100,000 is a nothing burger. Like think about it, 100,000. Okay, let's say this is after you all you know, it's net. Good luck with that. So you should be gross 200,000 to be net 100,000 basically, and out of that 100,000, let's say 15,000 you spend on your rent, which means 15,000 times 12, which means it's more than your whole salary. That's only rent, by the way, and you're living in New York. So obviously you need to have like a 300,000 salary.
There is simply a massive gap in expectations between the generations looking for their first jobs and the group responsible for giving out most of the jobs.
Yeah, there's a delusion on both sides. The young generation, they expect too much, and the old generation, they expect too little.
So they both agree that nobody wants to work, just for different reasons. The second type of job that nobody wants to work are in workplaces that push their staff, demand unreasonable overtime, or have management that are...
That's America for you, and like the culture in these countries where you are supposed to work 50 to 60 hours a week is just toxic as fuck. And the pay is not there to show for itself. So it's also, again, a scam.
needlessly abusive. This happens in a shocking amount of businesses across the country. And even if you are lucky enough to avoid a boss that thinks shouting is an effective motivation tool, you have probably worked some overtime out of fear of losing your job or being reprimanded.
Yeah, no, in Europe it's a bit better because we have laws to kind of counteract the fact that you can get laid off at any moment. But in America, it's cruel as hell. Like if they feel like it's not good, they immediately kick you off. It's no big 2 weeks notice. Get out of my sight. No discussion. There's no, government legislation that they need to go get over with. No, nothing. They just kick you off the moment they feel like you're not necessary for their business. That you do not provide value enough for them to justify your payment. It's ridiculous over there. You have to work yourself to the bone so that they will not feel like they need to kick you out of the company, which is ridiculous.
Into a 2023 workplace survey, the average full-time worker across the country studied is now putting in an average of 9.2 hours of unpaid overtime.
This is just, oh my god, this is so stupid. You have to think it's an average. Like there's some people that don't work that much, so most people are usually working 10 to 20 hours overtime every week. Every week you being paid, you don't get paid for what, 25 to 50% extra work. This is ridiculous.
These jobs often don't have much trouble finding people to start, but they do struggle with high staff turnover. The third are simply
Exactly. So it's easier for them to get staff members, but keeping them in,
jobs that never actually exist.
and then they wonder why is nobody wanting to work in my job that requires everybody to work 50% extra each week, and we don't pay that.
Existed. You probably all know about ghost jobs by now, but even if you really do want to work, there is a good chance that most of your applications are just going to build out a workforce database, not to actually be considered for
So this is very scummy. This is what I found out also because I think I watched similar videos to this one. So basically what they do is they have these ghost jobs. And you say, what is a ghost job? Is it with Casper the Ghost? No. Ghost jobs are basically jobs that don't exist. They put the LinkedIn post that they are hiring, but in reality they aren't. And they put this LinkedIn post for some reason to show the government that they have open positions in the company, even though they're not actual any positions that they actually hire on. But they have this post as proof to the government so that they can get some benefits out of it. I don't exactly understand what the benefits are, but they are good enough for them to create these bullshit ghost jobs.
employment. Now, whatever the specific reason, the results are the same. Less people end up working.
Scummy.
But aside from settling some beef between entitled Zoomers and some out-of-touch boomers, this data all reveals something more concerning about work in the current economy. It's not that people don't want to work anymore. They simply can't afford to. So it's time to learn how money works to find out what's really behind the worst phrase in the workplace. This week's video is sponsored by MyHeritage. Ever wondered what
MyHeritage.
remarkable stories are hidden in your family history? MyHeritage is the
Oh, let's go. I can find out how much percentage of, I don't know, Chinese I am.
world's
Let's
leading
go.
platform for genealogy research and DNA testing, trusted by over 90 million users worldwide. With 20 billion historical records and advanced AI tools, MyHeritage makes exploring your roots not just accessible, but truly enjoyable.
go.
Here's a fun discovery I made. My great-grandfather started a brewery in Germany, and it's
Oh.
still thriving today. Imagine
Nice.
finding out your family's legacy is still making its mark. That's the kind of excitement MyHeritage can unlock. I started my journey by adding a few basic details, and their instant discoveries feature brought my family tree to life with whole new branches in seconds. It was incredible to learn about connections I didn't even know I had, including distant cousins who lived fascinating lives. One of my favorite parts of using MyHeritage is transforming old black and white photos with their photo colorization and animation
nice.
tools. When I colorized a photo of my great-great-grandmother Sophie, it felt like stepping back in time and seeing her smile come to life. The animations even added a touch of personality,
Ooh,
showing what her
that's a
expressions and
bit
mannerisms
uncanny.
might have been like. And it's not just about what you see. MyHeritage also lets you deep dive into history.
Yeah, heritage tests are always like a interesting topic to think about, right? Because you never know how much percentage of I don't know, Viking you are, guys. Guys, do you think I have Viking heritage, or maybe you have a Viking heritage?
Historical records to uncover stories and details. From ship manifests to old census data, seeing your ancestors' lives unfold in official documents is like piecing together a historical puzzle. Ready to discover your own family's hidden stories? MyHeritage offers a 14-day free trial so you can experience the platform's full range of features. Start your journey today. Trust me, you'll be amazed by what you uncover. Okay, so yeah. There are millions of people out there that think nobody wants to work because they couldn't hire someone with 20 years of experience on a programming language that has only been out for 5 years for $15 an hour.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I cannot believe that nobody's. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. How can nobody want to work on this one? Damn it!
There are also people who don't want to work because they think unless they are offered 6 figures in their first roll out of high school, it's not worth their time. And
I guess so. Depending on the place you are at, you gotta be right a bit more, like, you know, grounded when you ask for this. Like, jobs are not, they're not meant to be fun. They're just, you just look at the salary, say, okay, I can survive with this, and save a bit of it on the side. That's already a good deal.
they would be better off sitting at home working on their NFT dropshipping business. Both of these groups definitely exist in shockingly large numbers. But even though it's
Yeah.
really fun to make fun of both sides, it distracts from the much more important reason why labor force participation is getting worse. Well, as you might have been able to guess, this trend is really being driven by specific age groups and specific locations. If you look at labor force participation and exclude the youngest generation of workers and the oldest generation of workers, it's actually approaching all-time highs, which really makes sense when you think about it. It's common for both men and women to work full-time these days, and for most households, it's simply a financial necessity. So yeah, even if people don't want to work anymore, they kind of are stuck doing it anyway.
They don't want to work, but they gotta work. Yeah, that's how it is. Life is life. You know, you gotta. Hey, your ancestors, they had to work also, not for a salary, but for survival. To get the saber-tooth, to fight saber-tooths in the wild, and to collect berries in the forest. That's how it worked. It's always been. Now I'm looking in the future. It's been ages since we started this trend, and I would like in the future for us to not need to work at all. Thank you very much.
The reason labor force participation has fallen off in general, though, is because the average is being dragged down by a lot of young workers and old workers. The old workers are the easiest to explain. As people started living longer, retirement ages were pushed back, and more of the population began working in non-physical jobs. As a result, a larger share of the population over 55 remained in the workforce. This has started to reverse, though, as self-funded retirement systems and general asset prices have allowed a lot of over 55s to step back from the labor force, especially after COVID, as a lot of people received severance packages and decided that an early retirement was better than...
So if you're old, you get better rules to help you with the pension and all that. So you are like, why would I not take it now rather than later?
Going back to the office. Labor force participation from young people...
There's the thing, like, it doesn't matter who you are, you do not want to work. I can bet your ass that even the greatest and most successful people out there, if they could, they would not go to work tomorrow. That is the reality of it. Nobody wanna do this shit because this is a shackle upon your freedom. You gotta wake up whenever you need to. You gotta eat whenever you need to eat. You gotta do stuff that you don't wanna do constantly. It is what it is. It's like you imagine yourself and a bunch of shackles around your body restricting your movement constantly. That is work at its core.
Just entering the workforce either out of high school...
But you get at the end of the month some money so they can pay all of it on rent. Guys, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Or college is also pulling down the average, just for different reasons. More people than ever are getting a college degree, which means they are starting to work later. And fewer people are working part-time jobs while they study because for many, it's simply not worth it given how much debt they are going to be in when they graduate anyway. This might not also be a shock to you, but it's getting really damn hard to find a job out of college. A few months ago...
That is the ridiculous part. Why would you not be able to find a job out of college when the most important... I, as an employer, would say, who has the most advantage when I'm employing someone? The people that have a diploma compared to the ones that don't. So they're gonna ratio those people, obviously. Now, what probably this guy is saying is there's too many people with diplomas. So the competition is too high. You need another advantage. And I feel like... what university you did so that you won't be able to get a diploma is, I feel like those useless bullshit as universities, like I don't know, I can think a few of them. Like, let's be honest, marketing, guys, marketing. Am I wrong or am I? Don't lie to me. We all know this is a bullshit university.
Posts from a professor at Berkeley made the rounds after it spoke about his top students from a top college struggling to find work in technology, an industry that was hiring highly intelligent graduates like this as fast as they could make them just 24 months ago. Previously, a Berkeley CS graduate, even if not a top student, would receive multiple appealing job offers in terms of work type, location, salary, and employer. However, outstanding students, like those with a 4.0 in major GPA, are now contacting me worried because they have zero offers. I suspect this trend is irreversible and likely part of the broader trend impacting almost every employment sector.
What does it mean?
It's pretty grim stuff coming out of one of the best schools in the country. It might not be the most logical thing to do, but a common reaction from people who can't land a job with a degree they got to make them more employable is to just go get another degree. The rate of master's and PhD recipients has grown even faster than people getting an undergraduate degree.
This is just stupid. Now you have to have a master's degree. What now after the master's degree now you have to have a doctorate. Like, just leave me alone with this stupid shit.
Because that's now normal to stand out in a highly competitive job market. And to be honest,
Wasn't it enough that I spent 20 years in the education system that I really enjoy? Not really. Now I have to spend 30. Because everybody decided, you know what? It's not enough.
it's a nice way for people to avoid the reality of the job market for another few years. Spending another 2 to 8 years at college to get advanced degrees means people aren't in the labor force, which pulls down the average to look worse than it really is. So those are the ages that are perpetuating this dumb myth. But this trend is also highly dependent on location. And to see that, you need to go to the
Obviously.
place where apparently the absolute least amount of people want to work. Yes, the Rust Belt state has the lowest labor force participation
Virginia,
in the
okay.
country, but also some of the most unusual statistical anomalies. The state is quite poor after its major industries like coal mining and manufacturing were either outsourced or simply fell out of widespread use. This means that a lot of areas have effectively been left behind with no major employment opportunities, meaning that labor force participation is much lower than the national average.
Obviously.
But strangely, in some areas, the participation rate is much higher than what would be expected. A recent study conducted by economists from Hamline University, Cornell, and Virginia Tech found that depending on the county, labor force participation in West Virginia ranges from 42% to 77%, a gap between regions of 35%. While the average across the US states is just 17%, less than half of West Virginia. It's not unusual that cities and working towns will have higher labor force participation than other areas, because people often specifically move to these locations just to get work. But this variance was startling and uncovered a bigger national trend.
Oh, it makes sense because now I don't know for America, but I have examples here in Romania because I used to live at my grandparents' city, and there, there's not much to get in terms of a job. Every single one of my friends, because I used to live there and had my school there, all of the classmates that I have back in the day moved out of the city because you would not have any job in the city. Like the jobs you get is what, supermarket employee, and you had two places to fill up. That's pretty much it. It's a small city,
The people in areas that
So
still
obviously you go
have
to the
work
bigger
can't
ones.
afford not to work.
and obviously the employment rates in comparison are insane.
And the people in areas with no work couldn't afford to move to areas with work, since it could mean giving up family support networks or simply paying for the cost to relocate housing. A lot of people who had the financial means have already moved out of the state, only making this problem worse, as they
Okay.
take business opportunities and money away with them. It's a dense read because it's an academic paper.
Oh,
It's for
man.
nerds. But if you ever feel compelled to say that nobody wants to work anymore, I definitely suggest you have a look at it. The report itself also looks at welfare issues specific to West Virginia. But just because the state is experiencing this problem the worst doesn't mean that it's in any way just something hurting them. The trend of a few concentrated
Yeah.
cities doing extremely well while everywhere else stagnates can make nationwide figures look good. But it also means people who want to work have an option of trying their luck for one of the few jobs left in areas with fewer opportunities, or living in an extremely expensive city to compete with everybody else, fighting over a spot in the few places left where people can reliably get ahead. Finance and tech have become one of the last escape ropes for people to make a deal with the devil to get out of these areas with little to no opportunities.
Finance and tech, yeah.
And I am going to be writing an article about how even that career path is becoming impossible in my completely free email newsletter. So sign up if you are interested in reading that and other
I'm not
articles that
sure.
will
I think you still to this day, if you are into programming, you're gonna be okay. If you are into finance, I'm not sure about that. I'm not a very big guru on that, but I know as a software developer, you will always find enough places. There is not enough people on it. Not a lot of people are interested in working in programming. Let's be fair, it's boring as fuck. And the universities are the harshest there is. Like, you compare programming to marketing, it's heaven and earth.
never be made into
comparison.
videos here. Thanks for watching, and thanks again to MyHeritage for making this video possible. Check them out by scanning this QR code or clicking the link in the description. Now obviously, a lot of this could be handled by companies just allowing remote work, so go and watch my recent video on why companies absolutely will not let that happen for anybody except their CEOs.
Yeah,
And make sure to like and subscribe to keep on learning how.
So guys, do you agree that there's no work, the people don't want to work anymore? I mean, that was always a factor, but now they actually don't. They are going with the narrative. Basically, that's the thing. And there's so many factors explained in the video, and I agree with most of them. To be fair, it's like the statistics, it's work papers, proof. I think at the end of it all, high demand for shit jobs that nobody cares about. So that will make you look like, okay, nobody want to work in those, obviously. Then there's a bunch of expectations from the younger generations that think they will get 500,000 a year. Good luck with that, boy. Good luck with that. Reality will hit you. You'll have to go as a barista at Starbucks. Yes, that was the thing that I was looking for. At Starbucks, right? And you'll get 50K maybe a year. It's horrendous, but that's the reality. Your reality needs to humble you down, my friend. That's basically how it goes. And at the end of it all, nobody wants to work, of course. The housing market also is horrendous. The situations for people in general is looking grimmer than ever. But yeah, you gotta work with what you gotta work. You gotta adapt the situation at the end of it all. And if you have to survive and you have people to rely on you, no matter what, you have to put yourself out there and do it. And that's how it goes. Is it sad? It is. It is what it is, though. Whatever.